Hello, I'm Lance. I'm a site operations manager here at Atco Foods. I run a number of IT projects globally, reporting directly to our CIO.
Hey, what's up, Lance? I'm Aaron, a security analyst responsible for helping our compliance team assemble audit reports for FedRAMP, SOX, and PCI DSS.
Aaron, do you remember when we used to have separate systems for identity governance and privileged access management? It was really hard to execute access requests, meet compliance requirements, and control access to sensitive resources in a simple and orchestrated way.
You know what was also hard for me, Lance? Every quarter at audit time, you and all the other app owners called me the fun police because I pestered y'all for audit logs. And then I had to spend weeks cleaning your dirty data for the compliance team.
Well, that's about to change, Aaron. You see, because we're already using the Okta Identity Cloud, I was very pleased to see the new Okta Identity Governance and Okta Privileged Access products, which will help us unify key elements of our IT and business strategy. You know, when it comes to sensitive access, I want a process that is transparent, seamless, and agile. The new Okta Identity Governance integrates with our existing collaboration tools, such as Slack, making this process incredibly smooth. It is a simple, automated experience when users need access to any Okta app, for example, Zendesk. But don't take it from me. Let me ask Teju, who is new to the team, what does she think about this process? Teju?
You're right, Lance. I'll admit I definitely came here for the Munchbox snacks, but getting access to systems here at Atco has been great. Now, as a site reliability engineer, I typically need access to various resources like infrastructure in AWS, collaboration tools, and some on-prem tools that we use for ongoing maintenance. Now, all of those apps were assigned to me on day one, but let me tell you, the last company I worked with, it took weeks for me to get access to systems, while other full-time employees got access to apps much, much faster. So I was definitely pleased when I came on board here to see everything standardized on Okta and even built into the tools that I use day to day. Now, it's great that I can just pop into Slack to create these access requests instead of having to go through clunky, old school systems. Now, that reminds me, I actually do need to request access to Zendesk to monitor some of our internal security tickets. So because Zendesk wasn't assigned to me on day one, I'm going to go ahead and create a new access request with Okta. Now, in the list here, I'll choose access to applications, and I'll choose Zendesk in the list, provide a quick justification like ticketing. Now, all right, I'm going to go ahead and submit this request and see if it gets approved.
I got an access request. It's from Teju. Okta Governance notifies me in real time whenever someone asks for or is granted access to production systems. In fact, Okta just messaged me via Slack to let me know Teju requested access to Zendesk. Since all of our site reliability engineers should have access to this app, I'll go ahead and approve access for her.
Okay, great. It looks like my access to Zendesk was approved. That was super quick. And I noticed at the same time that Atco's Okta review bot just pinged me asking to recertify my access to Dynatrace. I'm not really sure what this notification is about. I haven't seen it before, but I do still need access to Dynatrace to monitor some of our servers. So I'm going to go ahead and choose yes here. In the justification, provide another quick justification like I did before, like server monitoring. I think that should be good enough. And we'll go ahead and submit that. But hey, Aaron, since I hadn't seen that notification before, could you tell me what it's all about?
So what you saw was a smarter access review. It automatically prompts users to self-certify their access and is triggered by signals unique to Okta. In your case, Teju, the signal was inactivity. You just hadn't logged into Dynatrace over the past 30 days. This is less fatiguing on reviewers, and it saves time. The other benefit is that Okta captures these self-certification events for audits, and it even sends them to me via email. And this is great because I no longer have to pester Lance to get me audit reports ASAP all the time. It's all right here.
I appreciate that, Aaron. But you know what? Auditing and governance for applications is great, but it's not everything. We also need to ensure we can manage fine-grained access policies to infrastructure. Okta Privileged Access helps us manage access to more sensitive resources and adhere to the principle of least privilege. Let's see what that looks like for Teju.
Okay, so I confirmed earlier that I do still need access to Dynatrace, and I was even able to connect to Dynatrace directly from Slack, which is cool. But now, oh man, I'm thinking I shouldn't have done that. I just gave myself more work. One of our database servers' CPUs is running at 0%. I should probably go and fix that. I think this has happened before, and all I need to do is restart SQL on that server. So I'm going to pop back over to Slack now and create a new access request. And this time I'll choose to access servers. And yep, in the list here, I can see that database server that I need access to. I'll go ahead and request access for about, I think 3 days should be good enough to do some ongoing monitoring, provide another justification, like I need to fix stuff. All right, that should be good enough. I'm gonna go ahead and submit this. Now that request is fired off. Let's see if it gets approved.
I got a new access request. It's from Teju. This looks like Teju needs access to one of our SQL database servers. Let's get her in. I love how this whole process is nicely integrated into Slack. It has helped us achieve widespread adoption of our privileged access processes. Among other things, I can see that this server is actually running in production. So before I approve, I do want to make sure I can see all of the relevant attributes of this server. Okta connects with our downstream infrastructure providers to pull in all of the resource tags required, making it really easy for people like me to know what are the right policies and what levels of access to apply, without having to go through security every time. Here, in the Okta dashboard, I can actually see all the information I need about this server. Let's see. It looks like this is a Windows machine running on AWS. It is tagged for sensitive data. And look, it is also tagged for PCI compliance. Because this is a PCI compliant system, I'll need to make sure Teju gets access only for a limited time. Slack is also telling me that Teju requested access for only 3 days. This actually complies with our PCI server policies, so I'll go ahead and approve access for her as well. One more thing that I love about Okta is the ability to apply time-limited access to privileged systems automatically. This way, Teju can get to this task in her own time, and I do not need to worry about removing access afterwards to meet compliance.
Okay, great. That was super quick. Just like my request to Zendesk from earlier, my request to that database server got approved. Thanks for that, Lance. So now I'm going to log on to that server directly from Slack. This is a Windows server, so I'll use my local RDP client to log in. That's already nicely integrated with Okta for single sign-on, so I don't need to enter any additional credentials, even for these Windows Server domain join machines. And of course, it looks like my actions on this server are going to be recorded. IT is always spying on me. I'll try not to break anything here, but no promises. Okay, so I'm logged on to that server now. I'll go ahead and start up services. We'll find SQL here, give that a little kick. And okay, that's up and running. And phew, another fire was put out.
You know, doing these audits used to be really painful. Whenever I asked our business app owners for access data, they took weeks to copy this on USB drives or to print it on spreadsheets. Come on, do you still write checks at the grocery store too? Fortunately, Okta eliminates the manual work of collecting access data and consolidates it under one umbrella. I can see who has access to our applications and infrastructure. For our more advanced compliance requirements, I can even view recordings of what people did in our Linux and Windows servers. So, looks like Okta sent me a report that shows recent access requests. This report also details any privileged actions that users performed. Okta captures all privileged SSH and RDP sessions and then dumps the logs into a secure S3 bucket in AWS. Now, Teju's latest session was on a Windows server, so let's check out that video. All right, I can see Teju in the server. It looks like she's opening up the Services app, and from there she's restarting the database. So far, so good. And it looks like she's closed the session. Perfect, nothing suspicious to flag here. So I love how this all came together. Standardizing all of our access and governance needs with Okta has really unified our security posture from auth to audit. All of our reports are generated and consolidated in one platform, so I don't need to pester our team for updates anymore. And from the looks of it, these jokers, dear coworkers, appreciate that.
With all our identity and access management requirements, including governance and privileged access, consolidated into a single platform, we are finally able to streamline access requests, meet compliance, and better control access to sensitive resources in a modern way, using modern tools that do not hamper employee productivity or the pace of business. We are much better off now, thanks to Okta.